Stupidity doesn't always look like drool on the chin or tripping over your own shoes. No, the truly stupid man is far more dangerous because he walks with confidence. He thinks he's sharp. He thinks he's aware. He talks loud, explains everything, and lives in delusion while his life quietly burned behind him. And worst of all, he never shuts up. He speaks before he thinks. He reacts before he observes. He blames before he reflects. That's not lack of education. It's lack of awareness. It's lack of control. And a man who lacks control is no man at all. Seneca once said, "The greatest obstacle to living is expectancy, which hangs upon tomorrow and loses today." But the stupid man does exactly this. He lives in fantasies and excuses in tomorrow. He doesn't anchor himself in discipline, silence, or truth. You want to know if a man is wise? Don't just watch his actions. Listen to what he says. Because a man exposes his level of strength, his level of pain, and his level of self-respect in his words. So let's break it down. 10 things a stupid man always says. 10 verbal red flags that scream weakness, cowardice, and self-delusion. If you catch yourself saying these, stop. Kill the words before they kill your potential. 1. That's just who I am. This is the anthem of the dead man walking. The coward's lullaby. The excuse of a man who refuses to grow. When a man says, that's just who I am, what he's really saying is, I've stopped evolving. I'd rather stay broken than suffer to become better. That's not strength. That's slavery. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you'll find strength. But the stupid man denies this truth. He blames his childhood. He blames his zodiac sign. He blames his genetics. He treats his flaws like birthrights. Truth is, who you are is clay, raw, unshaped, waiting. Every single day, life gives you tools to carve, sharpen, and refine yourself. And every single day you choose. Will you mold yourself into something dangerous, divine, untouchable? Or will you rot in the mud of excuses? The man who hide behind, that's just who I am, is a man who has already quit. He's more afraid of becoming than he is of dying. A Stoic knows this. Your personality is not your prison. You are not condemned to yesterday. You are meant to evolve. So stop chanting this death sentence. Because the world doesn't need men frozen in mediocrity. It needs men who sharpen themselves daily, even when it hurts. 2. I don't care what people think. Sounds strong, right? Sounds fearless? But here's the catch. Most of the time, it's a lie. The man who says this line the loudest is usually the one who cares the most. He's desperate for you to believe he's bulletproof. He wants you to think he's above judgment, untouchable. But underneath, he's fragile, ego-driven, emotionally flammable. A true Stoic doesn't need to announce his indifference. He just lives it. He doesn't have to declare war on opinions because he's too busy mastering himself. Epictetus said it best. It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows. The stupid man is obsessed with looking strong, but he's terrified of actually becoming strong because that requires silence, patience, solitude. It requires training in the dark with no applause. So next time you hear a man bragging, I don't care what people think, look closer. He probably checks his phone every 5 minutes for validation. He probably lives for attention. Because only the insecure feel the need to convince the world they're secure. The Stoic doesn't need to prove anything. He just acts and lets the results speak louder than words. 3. It's not my fault. Yes, the national anthem of the week. This phrase has killed more potential than failure ever has. Because the moment you blame, you surrender. The man who always says, it's not my fault, is a professional victim. He blames his parents, his boss, his ex, the economy, the algorithm, everyone but himself. But here's the truth. When you give away the blame, you give away the power. You're no longer the creator of your story. You're just a piece of driftwood tossed around by the storm. A Stoic man never runs from responsibility. Even when it isn't his fault, he makes it his fight. Why? Because ownership, even of things you didn't cause, gives you leverage to change them. Blame is delay. Responsibility is action. The stupid man thinks dodging guilt saves him pain. But the wise man knows this. You either suffer the pain of growth or the pain of regret, and regret never forgets. So the next time you catch yourself saying, "It's not my fault," shut your mouth, grab the sword of responsibility, and realize strength doesn't come from avoiding blame. It comes from carrying burdens that weren't yours and still moving forward. For why try? Nothing ever changes. This one is seductive. It sounds logical, but it's poison. This is the voice of a defeated man. The logic of someone who wants results without discipline. He goes to the gym for 2 weeks, doesn't see abs, quits. He tries to start a business, meets resistance, quits. He apologizes once to his girl. She's still angry. He quits. He treats effort like a vending machine. Push button, get snack. But the universe doesn't work like that. Miyamoto Musashi didn't ask, "Will this duel change my life?" He simply trained, prepared, fought, repeated. Because the value was in the doing, not the outcome. A Stoic lived by process, not praise. He knows effort is its own reward. The moment you say, "Why try?" you've already lost your fire. And a man without fire is already halfway in the grave. The stupid man expects instant returns from a slow universe. The Stoic man embraces patience. Because real power is forged in a long, thankless grind where no one is clapping. Remember, the man who keeps swinging, even when it feels pointless, is the one who breaks the wall. 5. I deserve better. This one's dangerous because it sounds motivational. It sounds like a man with standards. But in reality, it's often the anthem of entitlement. A stupid man loves this phrase because it allows him to feel like a king without ever building a kingdom. He says he deserves loyalty, money, love, respect, while doing nothing but existing. Here's the truth. You don't deserve a damn thing. You earn it with sweat, with scars, with silence, with discipline that nobody sees. The Stoic man doesn't walk around demanding what life owes him. He asks, what am I willing to sacrifice for it? What am I willing to become to be worthy of it? Seneca wrote, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. The stupid man waits for luck to crown him. The Stoic man builds himself until opportunity has no choice but to bow. So the next time you hear a man whining, I deserve better, remember, desire without discipline is delusion. If you want better, be better. Otherwise, you're just a child in a man's costume, crying for a throne you never built. 6. That's impossible. This phrase is a coffin lid sealing shut. Stupid men don't say that's impossible because it actually is. They say it because they are unwilling. They see a man rise from nothing and say, he was lucky. They see another man carve his body into steel and say, steroids. They see a man master his emotions and say, he's fake. Why? Because to admit greatness is possible is to admit they fail to reach it, and that truth cuts too deep. So instead, they laugh from the safety of mediocrity. Being stupid isn't about IQ. It's not about education. It's about mindset. It's revealed in the words you choose. When you say, that's just who I am, you chain yourself to the past. When you say, I don't care what people think, you reveal how much you really do. When you say it's not my fault, you give away your power. When you say, why try? You bury your fire. When you say, I deserve better, you crown yourself with nothing. When you say that's impossible, you kill your potential. When you say she'll come back, you surrender your future. When you say, real men don't show emotions, you turn into a prisoner of your own mind. When you say, I'll do it tomorrow, you waste the only time you actually own. And when you say, I already know that, you blind yourself to wisdom. The cure for stupidity is brutal self-honesty. The solution is silence, observation, discipline, and daily self-mastery. The wise man doesn't prove he's wise with words. He proves it with his life. So kill these weak phrases. Kill the coward inside. And become the man the world cannot ignore. Because the world doesn't need more noise. It needs men who live with discipline, strength, and dangerous self-control. Be one of them, or die sounding like everyone else.